Brilliant. We're live. Howdy, I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave. Hello.
And we'd just like to make the point that it's not too late for you to do something about Halloween this year. So here we are, presenting this live, or this week's Mastermind live with you on the 2nd of October. And me and Dave was just here offline chatting about things which we could cover with the upcoming ones. And we were like, which one are we going to do today? Bang on, straight into Halloween, because it's one of those things or one of those topics which you can action right now. Now, with that said, Dave, we've done quite a bit of research over the last hour or so into Halloween, and frankly, we're shocked. But before we get into that, think about Halloween for a few moments. It's one of those universal holidays which everybody gets involved in, isn't it? And it's also one of those unsung sales peaks, which some people kind of overlooked quite peculiarly, which is a little bit peculiar, but it's one of those spikes which is pretty easy for you to jump on no matter what business you're in, especially, again, remember we're focused towards e-commerce, and it has massive appeal from children to grannies and grandpas, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think when we look at e-commerce as a whole, sort of as a calendar, so to speak, or as an agenda throughout the year, we all think, yeah, we have summer, then it's back to school, then Black Friday, and we always miss. And I think it's because it is literally one day at the end of October for Halloween, and it's very easy to think, I don't sell fancy dress, so I don't sell makeup. It's not for me. I can't really get involved. And actually, we know that couldn't really be further from the truth, because it is one of the biggest and yet most hidden e-commerce shopping holidays, periods, seasons. It's the run up to Halloween and Halloween itself. And like you said, that's because it isn't just targeted at one specific group. Granted, anyone who wants to get involved in Halloween, but like you said, you've either got kids who are trick-or-treating, you've got adults going to parties, home and garden decorations. It really does. And like I say, you then got the older generation who are decorating their houses for the kids to come round and trick or treat. So the actual audience for Halloween is huge. And
it's a very broad, wide-reaching one. It doesn't necessarily have religion involved in it either, which makes it a very peculiar holiday compared to, say, Easter or Christmas. So it is quite a peculiar one from that perspective.
It is, I think, as well. I mean, and it is very much, in my opinion, an Americanism. It's an American holiday which every year gets bigger and bigger here in the UK. Me and Matt were just chatting briefly before we went live, and I remember, was it back in 2014 when I was living out in LA? I actually went to the Hollywood Halloween Festival, dressed up as Heisenberg from Breaking Bad, and it was incredible. Like there was, I think there was rumored to be like 1 million people out on. It was basically a massive street party down Sunset Boulevard with music and people dancing, and it was insane. And this was all for Halloween. And yeah, that was my first real American experience of Halloween. And like pumpkins were everywhere, and it was all very it was incredible. And ever since then, coming back here for the past 4 years or so now, 5 years, it is becoming more and more normal here for people to have Halloween parties. And I remember as a kid, it was largely trick or treaters, but my parents never did anything. It was mainly more of a child-friendly thing. Whereas now it seems like everybody's using it as an excuse to get dressed up, to go to parties, to socialize, and just basically have a bit of fun. And
yeah, Dave, you're absolutely right. We've had a Halloween party here before, and
I remember last year. I remember seeing that you were dressed up as a mummy. I remember the picture.
Yeah. And the year before, I scared the living daylights out of all the parents as well. They were walking down the drive. It was pitch dark, and I'd gone over the other side of the hedge, and I jumped straight through the hedge, and I made them all jump.
Did you have a chainsaw as well where you took the chain off?
No, that wasn't me. But that's a really good idea, and it should be considered. I like it. Like where you're going with that one. Anyway, just put this into perspective. So the point which we've made so far is that it's one of those unsung holidays. It is definitely something which you can react to even now, even being October. And also it's something which is massive in the US, and it's only getting bigger here in the UK now. Like I said, we did a little bit of research beforehand. Something like $9 billion US are spent over the Halloween period. Now, there was an interesting one. There was a $3.4 billion US spent in attire, ironically, with men spending more than women, which I found a little bit peculiar, but hey ho. And 2.7 billion spent in tat. Which so home decorations, you can imagine the stuff which people are buying, which is absolutely shocking. Now, the only data which we could find from the UK was a year or so old, back to 2016/2017, when they're suggesting 320 million to 310 to 320 million pounds sterling. Now, frankly, I think that's a very, very low estimate. Just even now in Asda here in Bristol, the amount of Halloween stuff they've got on there, that multiplied across the country, and that's only one store, I think that's probably quite a conservative figure, which they've had there for the UK sales, because I think it's much bigger than that. And again, as Dave said, he's noticed it, and Dave doesn't even have kids, you know, and we do, and it's just got bigger year on year as well. So we've talked for the first couple of minutes about Halloween in general. There's a couple of other things for you to think about. We'll get on to a couple of marketing ideas, but I just want to put this into perspective for you, because the 31st of October really is a big slap in the face to the mums which haven't been buying yet for Christmas, which H hasn't told me she's bought anything for Christmas yet, so I'm quite shocked by this. Last year, the day the kids went back to school, she'd already been bought a Christmas present. This year, she's obviously lagging behind a bit. But I think you've got Halloween, and then you've got Guy Fawkes Night, November the 5th. And that's it. It really is into Christmas season. Now, the other big spike here is Black Friday. Now, this is where you could run some form of promotion to tip your potential buyers over the edge. And again, this is real life, as in I've got a collection of purchases which I am personally putting off until Black Friday. And they're of a pair of quite expensive monitors, which I've already been and bought one of, and I'm quite willing to wait for some money off for the other two. And also the Alexa devices as well. I'm waiting for those to come on sale. And that's the thing is that with those Alexa devices, if Amazon ran a sale on Halloween, would I get one or two? The answer is probably yes. That would be enough to tip me over the edge. And that's the thing, is that think about what your customers actually waiting for, and is there anything which you could do for October and Halloween to nudge your customers over, to get them to make that purchase a couple of weeks early, because we're only talking November. Is it November 25th this year for Black Friday? So something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So we're only pushing the transaction forwards by 20 odd days, and I would buy tomorrow if the price was right on those bits and bobs. But like I said, I'm holding off for Black Friday on those parts specifically. There's some other things as well, but if a good deal came along and I was nudged in the right direction, maybe with free shipping, for example. Again, there's one specific company which I'm thinking of, that would definitely nudge me in the right direction to go on and make a purchase. And again, it's not generally speaking, not an inexpensive purchase either. So keep that in the back of your mind. Don't feel bad or cheesy or in any shape or form by running any form of Halloween marketing. Is that, to be honest, customers expect it. That's what other companies are going to be doing as well. They're seeing it all around them, especially if they've got families. The kids are really getting into it as well. And it's okay. It's not anything bad. And again, if you can nudge that customer to tip them forwards a couple of weeks early before Black Friday, then, wow, that's money in your bag and not somebody else's. So sorry, Dave, that was one example which was rolling around here in my notes. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I think it is as we said, it's very easy to forget about Halloween. And we did get some. I've just got the thing up on the other screen here, looking at some of the numbers. Americans expected to shell out 3.4 billion. Britain spent 310 million.
That was only in attire, Dave.
What?
3.4 billion.
On Halloween attire, Jesus.
Is 9. Yeah, absolutely. And the average spend between men and women is $96 versus $77. Absolutely crazy.
That's the point is obviously 3.4 billion on attire, which we'll assume to be fancy dress and stuff along those lines. And that's always been, I think, the train of thought for a lot of sellers is, I don't sell fancy dress. It's not really, there's nothing I can do. The reality is that in that period, you've got $9 billion being spent. So if you're selling into America, brilliant. That's absolutely their peak. So they love that. That's a great thing. The UK is growing year on year. But it's all about, you have to now make the most of that additional online traffic. More people are in buying mode in the end of October, on that week up to Halloween. So why shouldn't they be buying your products? And you may think, my products are really, really out there in terms of relevancy to Halloween. That's fine. We get it. If you're selling drill bits or, computer mice, you may struggle to tie that in nicely. However, what our argument is there's going to be increased traffic online generally, people looking to buy. And when your customers are in buying mode, it's much easier to sell to them. It genuinely is. So that's when this is where your marketing hats need to come out and stick them on and get a little bit more creative in terms of, right, well, how can we...
Well, Dave, you said about the computer mice where you've got Halloween gifts for the techie.
Oh,
you can go that way. You say the drill bits don't get shouted at by the missus this Halloween. You can imagine there's a thread, like a string, which you could go down from the husband's perspective, or you could even do the wife's perspective on the other side as well if it came to DIY as well. That could be quite interesting.
I mean, like I said, we went down the chainsaw route. You could sell chainsaws without chains. That would be a nice little prop. Foam hammers and stuff like that could always be a fun one. But along the lines of also the home decoration thing, if you're going to be sticking bloody skeletons up on the wall and stuff like that, there's a very loose connection there that this could be your Halloween DIY kit. There's a lot of, that maybe that's the idea. You could actually create your own product, the ultimate DIY home decorators kit, with some self-adhesive tape, some those little sticky tabs, don't leave marks or holes in the wall, glow in the dark paint, all sorts of stuff along those lines. It's just the only limiting factor really is you. How creative can you be in terms of making what you have relevant? And bearing in mind, we did this today because you've got pretty much 4 weeks notice, which is plenty of time for you to put together a strategy, put together a marketing plan, hell, even source some quirky little products that you can help encourage further upsells for the rest of your product range.
Yeah, absolutely. And it could even be as crude as just some Halloween-style sweets to chuck in with the parcels. And that's the thing is that other sites, other companies will be doing exactly that. They will be leveraging what's going on with Halloween, regardless of what sector they're in. Again, we're assuming that you're selling online. And then what we got here in our notes, we've got, don't ignore shipping, playing around with shipping as well. We're not necessarily suggesting free shipping, but are there things which you could be doing around shipping, maybe lowering like a minimum spend for free shipping, for example, just giving yourself something to shout about, to try and, like we said, try and nudge those customers over the line. And of course, don't forget to theme the store, your site, your listings, pop-ups if you're using those for a Halloween pop-up. Maybe even if you had something completely unrelated to Halloween and you're really struggling, then why not buy something in for Halloween as a giveaway and then use that as an incentive for people to hand over their email addresses for email marketing in a pop-up on the site or in your general communication. So, and of course, that also ports to maybe Facebook, to Instagram, or wherever else, so that you can drive at least eyeballs towards a goal, which is that if someone's handing over their email address for a bucket, Halloween bucket full of sweets or something like that, which may cost you only 30 quid or something like that, bonus. And what else do we think? Emails, don't forget to emails as well. Banners, if you're doing any physical mail promotions too, don't rule out using Halloween as one of those. And of course, YouTube as well. Don't be afraid to theme up a set for Halloween as well, especially if you're using the stuff for the kids anyway, so you can borrow it a couple of days early and stick it up, use it, and of course then you can use it at home as well. So sorry, Dave, gone off a little bit of a tangent there.
No, I think it's all very relevant, and it is that it all boils down to just making the most of the opportunity that we said for years, like when it came to Christmas, to not forget January, because there was a lot of money being left on the table. Maybe on a slightly lesser degree, that our message today is don't forget Halloween, because you're potentially going to be leaving a lot of money on the table. And it depends. Obviously, every business is different, and how you want to frame this for your own business is entirely up to you. But you might look at it as, hell, this is a great bit of a sales period with some spike in traffic to try and clear that last remaining summer stock before we buy some more for Christmas or Black Friday. Do we use this opportunity to try and kickstart the sales period for our business? Whatever it might be, the message is ultimately get creative with how you can utilize this phenomenon of Halloween online for your business. Don't just get stuck into the mindset that I don't sell fancy dress, I don't sell costumes, I don't sell makeup, it's not for me. It is. There's definitely ways for you to get involved, and even if your products, you can't tie them into it, like Matt said, there's a lot of marketing ways that you can go down, whether that be discount codes, whether that be Halloween theme in your website, whatever it might be. Just get involved somehow.
And again, the reason why you're getting involved, it's just like a no-brainer to get involved, is because essentially anybody who's anything which will be around you will be doing exactly the same. And like we said, customers are expecting it. Me as a consumer, I am expecting it. I'm sure the same for Dave as well. As much as we might moan or grumble if we get a marketing email for a company we've never heard of for the last 50 years, it's to be expected. That's the crucial point. The kids are going to be in the supermarkets looking at the taps. It's just the way it is, and we are going to get a squillion posts across the social platforms, and as Dave said, they are going to be in buying mode. How can you leverage that for you and your business? We discussed a couple of potential ideas there as well, but yeah, don't feel in any way bad for doing that, because that's exactly what everybody else is going to do. And like I said, I am right now on the fence of 2 semi-decent purchases and a collection of other little things as well. If the right deal came in, then I'll break out the card early and go 20 days, 25 days earlier than Black Friday. Because again, I'm holding out for that. And then I'm sure it'll be the same when we get to Black Friday. If that didn't turn up, then I'll be holding out for Christmas and January sale deals on there. So yeah, just think about you aren't going to be doing your customers a favor, to be honest. If there is somebody on the hedge about getting, or on the line about making a purchase, then that email which is going out, that brand and whatever marketing activities which you're doing could, and is, if the deal's right for the person specifically, will push them over the edge to go in and make them into a purchase. And as we were saying earlier, Dave, this really is the quiet sales peak before it all happens. It's like the warm-up round, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Like chances are, and I've seen it, especially here in the UK, we had a glorious summer, the best summer that I can remember. And the hand in hand for that goes, unless you're selling paddling pools, sunglasses, or jet skis, your sales generally take a bit of a dip because everybody's outside, nobody's inside, everybody's feeling happy, doesn't need to buy things in order to cheer themselves up. We're now coming out of that period. The weather's turning, it's getting colder. And like Matt said, I think maybe a reason for that is because we've had such nice weather through July, to a degree August, September wasn't too bad. It doesn't feel like winter yet. So that spike that we usually sometimes see in September of sales ramping up seems to have plateaued a little. And like Matt said, Helen hasn't been buying presents yet, as far as we know. I know I certainly haven't, which is not so surprising. But ultimately, this, I think we're going to see, in my mind, we're probably going to see this ramp up slowly through October. We're going to see a spike in the last week. And then it wouldn't surprise me if that spike was almost a plateau through November, as it may dip a little, but then come Black Friday, it's going to jump again. And before you know it, Christmas is here, and you're going to wonder where the next 3 months have gone.
Yeah, it's good. I think Dave's absolutely right here. Is because we've had a few frosts and a few little cold snaps, but according to the weather reports, it's still going to carry on through into October. It's still going to be quite warm, and it's only going to take a couple of colder weeks, and then that people will just flip into Christmas mode.
You've also got when the clocks go back as well at the end of the month.
Yeah,
so, I mean, that's always a big one. Everything gets dark and cold again, and it's that mental switch like, all right, winter's here, Christmas is coming, and all of a sudden that, like I said, the sales period, usually around the year, you have your peaks and troughs, but usually it all evens out. You should always be sort of around the same, hopefully doing better than what you were the year previously. But sometimes those peaks and troughs move due to things outside of your control. This year, the weather will definitely be one of them here in the UK. So if your numbers are slightly down on where you would like, or compared to last year or the year before, it's an even better reason for you to take Halloween seriously, because that truly, in my mind, is going to be the springboard for your Q4. And I just have Maria in the chat there. Thanks for joining, Maria. She's saying it certainly has got busier over the last couple of weeks. So Maria's seeing it in her business. The last few weeks, September coming into October, especially with your products, Maria, back to school. Kids are, again, parents are now looking for things to keep kids entertained once they've done the homework and whatever else. So it's, I think, especially for you, Maria, again, doing toys and things like that. Halloween, Black Friday, Christmas, your next 3 months should absolutely be smashing it. And like I said, the best way to do it is to get heavily involved with Halloween and make the most of that. Don't be forgotten about over the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah, there's a quote here which I wanted to include because I thought it was so good. And I made a point, I wanted to make a point of including that in here, which was that people hate promotional emails, but not on our holiday seasons, because promotional emails coming during the holidays bring discounts, freebies, free shipping, very good deals that they've been waiting for the whole year to spend 2/3 of their annual shopping budget. And that's the reality. 2/3 of their annual shopping budget goes in the next couple of months. And heck, Halloween starts in 4 weeks' time. You've got plenty of time to prepare for it. We've mentioned a couple of different ways which you can leverage it and get on board. Let me just quickly recap those for those which have joined a little bit later on in this live stream, which I'm now missing from my list somewhere in the background. While we get there, just give it a quick, again, those of you which have joined us in the live stream a little bit later, the Americans spend something like $9 billion on Halloween, 3.4 billion of that on attire, so costumes and such like, 2.7 billion on tat. And that's and that's just me being just politely. That's the stuff to make your house look pretty. It's absolutely nuts. In the UK, it is nowhere near as big as it is in the US. However, I've seen, Dave's seen, I'm sure you've probably seen, it's just got bigger over time. And I have just been found that listed on there. Potentially offer a Halloween item to be used as a gift. Okay, we also went off on a slight tangent, is that if you're really struggling for an idea, why not make a Halloween pack So go and get a collection of different Halloween items, chuck them into a bucket or something like that, and then do it as a giveaway and use that as an incentive for people to trade their email addresses for email marketing. And of course, that you can get included on multiple other platforms as well. Free or discounted shipping. Don't forget to theme your site, your store, your listings. If you're using a pop-up, again, maybe you're using the Halloween bucket, for example, that would be a great way. Sign up now and win your up for a chance of winning this bucket of Halloween goodies in there. And of course, we want the cutoff date close enough so that you can actually get it out to them in time. Banners as well. We did mention physical mail if you've got things going on in the real world too. And of course, don't forget YouTube as well.
Mm-hmm.
So those are, and the biggest one as well, really simple, relatively inexpensive, Halloween sweets in the packages as well. If you're doing it anyway, why not get some Halloween ones in and get some scary teeth in there as well? Why not?
But I mean, it's one of those things you could, some those fake fangs, some Halloween sweets, and a little card which just says, share a vampire selfie with us on our YouTube or our Facebook page or something like that. And it's all just content. It all can just be reused and repurposed, create a buzz around you and your business and what you're doing. It doesn't have to be expensive, but it will work.
Absolutely. On that note, I think we've been and covered everything which we need to cover you and got the message across really clearly. Again, just to quickly summarize, Halloween, absolutely massive in the US, only getting bigger here in the UK. It's one of those nice universal holidays. It's not like an Easter or a Christmas, which is as like a religious part to it. It's more of a fun one, which covers all the age groups across the board. And everybody else around you will be running some form of Halloween promotion. You've got a good couple of weeks to get planned together and actually be able to action it in plenty of time as well. It's just one of those no-brainers. And remember that we spoke about myself as well. I'm personally waiting for some deals to come up. You could knock that person or those people off in the right direction towards you to make those purchases good 20-25 days before Black Friday kicks in and the main holiday season, if that makes any sense as well. Cool beans. Dave, anything to add to what we've been and covered so far?
I don't think so, other than to just, I think that quote that you read out a few minutes ago was absolutely spot on. I'm absolutely 100% the same. If you send me a marketing email out of the blue 9 or 10 months of the year, chances are I'm not going to read it. But if it's on that Black Friday week or on the run up to an event which I'm somewhat interested in, I will be reading that email and I will be seeing if there's a discount there and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, there's no excuse not to do it.
Absolutely. Or keep in the back of your mind, men are spending more than women. Work that one out.
That surprised me, to be honest, but yeah.
Absolutely. So on that note, from myself, Matt.
And from me, Dave.
Thank you very much for taking the time to join us here for this week's live mastermind. Remember, we do hold these masterminds every single week. And of course, if you're watching us live, the next couple of episodes, the next couple of masterminds over the next couple of weeks, we'll get those scheduled in and you'll be able to see the topics which we've got coming up very, very shortly. On that note, if you've got any questions or comments about anything which we've been discussed here today, you can let us know down in the comments section underneath this video or across on UnderstandingE.com. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed this live mastermind, hit the thumbs up below. On that note, from myself, Matt.
And from me, Dave.
Cheerios.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.